G'day. Welcome to the AgriCoach podcast for families on the land who want to grow their family's wealth and prosperity across the generations. I'm your host, Ben Law, and I'm the financial bloke. G'day everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the AgriCoach Wealth and Wisdom podcast. I'm Ben Law, and I'm the financial bloke. Today, we've got something different for you, and I think it'll be a cracker of an episode. If you're a farmer looking to take control of your time, streamline your operations, and gain more freedom in your life, then you're in for a treat. Joining me today is Ram Savana of Enable Ag, a man dubbed the Farmer's Time Freedom Coach. His business tagline is freedom of time for your farm and your life. Really says it all. Ram has a unique approach to not only productivity and efficiency, but on freeing up time so you can focus on what really matters, both on and off farm. In this episode, we're going to dive into Ram's backstory, his journey to becoming a time freedom coach, and why he believes farmers need this kind of guidance now more than ever. We also unpack the must-have systems for farmers. Number 1, a task management list, and number 2, a systems list. These are essential tools that can help transform how you manage your farm, making things run smoother and giving you more time back in your day. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, I want you to get to know Ram a little bit better. He has an interesting story that I believe will resonate with many of you. So without further delay, Ram, welcome to the show.
Hey Ben, how are you?
Fantastic, mate. I'm really looking forward to this today. So we've got a lot of stuff to go through, but I think it's really important to tell your story. Now, just for everyone listening, why I think I wanted you on the podcast is someone I know, we have a mutual connection, a friend of both of ours that contacted me a while ago, and they said, hey, you need to meet Ram. He's doing something really unique in the ag space like you are, and I think you should get to know him, and he's got a great story. So do you want to kick things off, Ram, with a bit of a quick summary on your backstory, and then sort of also how you got to where you are today, and then we'll dig in from there.
Right. I'll try to keep this one short, Ben. Otherwise, it'll go for weeks. So, Ram Savana, born in India, 1988. And then, long story short, so 26 years after, I ended up coming to Australia for my education at Melbourne Uni. I did Master of Biotechnology. It's majorly in project management in biotechnology space. And then halfway through the uni, I ended up working for a medical device company, helped developing that company, a cardiothoracic medical device that can be used in the open heart surgeries. So 3.5 years I worked with that company, during which I crawled up the ladder from a volunteer to a casual employee, full-time employee, a shareholder in the business as well. So in that phase, I had an opportunity to practice my project management skills and wanted to leverage that more. And in that pursuit of the career, I came to Tasmania for a permanent residency visa. And I thought I will be here for 6 months and move back to Melbourne or Sydney for better jobs. Came here, lovely people. I remember the day I went for my first run. It was on the 19th of November, 2016. I came across 11 faces, out of which 10 of them were smiling and wishing good morning. And they took a pause. And that just made me think, wow, this is just totally different feeling, which I never had in the cities. So I thought, okay, why don't I make my life here, see if there is a possibility. Then I looked for jobs in the medical device sector. First of all, there is no medical device sector in Tasmania. So I had to be ready to change my industry for that. So I thought, mom and dad are farmers in India, organic lemon and mangoes they grow. How different farming is going to be in Australia compared to India? Very, very weird. So I had that thought, and then eventually I started working with a farmer as a farm hand in July 2017. Okay, so right at the beginning of winter in Tasmania, -6 degrees, rode a motorbike, went to the farm, did my first job of breaking the water troughs so the sheep can drink water. So, and then I fixed the suction pump on the next day. And then third day, I broke the tractor window, and the farmer started thinking like, why the hell did I get him on, get him onto the farm? So the deal with that farmer was actually 1 day as a farm hand, half a day as a consultant or a client relationship, where I was coaching a farmer in delegating tasks properly and having systems in place, leveraging people and trusting people, and sometimes not being on the farm because only then people will step up in your absence. So these opportunities, we see them as challenges, but they're actually opportunities to go away. So I'll talk more about that if I get the opportunity in the interview today. So that's how it started. And then the farmer said, Ram, there's so much that you can do for my fellow farmers as well, not just me. So are you available? I was working part-time for the medical device company that's in Melbourne while being in Tasmania, while getting my feet into the ag sector here. So in that process, farmer introduced me to a Nuffield Scholar, a challenging person to work with, he mentioned to me. And I wanted the challenge at that moment to realize if I am to tick in here in Tasmania, I might as well work with more challenging people and then see how I can serve them. If I can serve them and they're happy, then I can maybe serve a broader audience in ag sector. That was my intention.
So almost test the market and test your experience and knowledge.
That's exactly right. So didn't want to go easy. So went hard on myself. First year, I had 8 clients. And I realized that despite of all the challenges my mom and dad having in India, I always blamed that money. If they had more money, they would be able to spend more time with us, or they would be able to send us to private schools and provide us that quality of life they wanted to provide. I realized that the 8 farmers I worked with in the first year, they had a decent financial background and they were making decent revenue as well. But despite of that, they were still having the same fundamental problem, which is basically the amount of time they had for themselves and their families. And that bothered me. So for the first year, I was focusing more on enabling tech in the farms, like how you can embrace tech, how you can use a spreadsheet properly, very simple things, how you can organize files on the computer, how you can manage your computer, how do you even connect 2 screens, how do you get the stuff from this screen to another screen, very basic stuff, but they were like mind-boggling things for some farmers, especially. Whatever I thought as an obvious thing was not an obvious thing for them. So I realized that no, we can systemize all this simple stuff and educate more people along the way. So what happened there, Ben, was towards the end of the first year, I realized that there is a lot I could do in the family-owned farm space. So I decided to start a company. And then I went on working with not just the farmers. I worked with the companies that work with farmers, like stockbrokers, abattoirs, seed processing companies, trucking companies, all the stuff. So I can learn whom all a farmer deals with. So I can position myself right in the center, working with the farmer and putting things in place so they can deal with all these people around within their life, farm life, let's say. So in a much more efficient way. That's how I position. Then eventually had an opportunity to work with many other farmers along the way, a lot of Nuffield Scholars as well. And Nuffield Scholars started calling me, Ram, you're not a tech consultant or a management consulting, you're a farmer's coach. And they said, I asked them, okay, what am I providing you out of all the 3 project management elements, money?
So what problem are you addressing?
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what I asked them. Whatever methodology that I had at the time, which was not documented at that stage, I asked them, what are you getting most out of this thing? Is it money you're making more? Is it time you're getting more? Or is it more you're able to manage your people better? Then they said, Ram, I think if we were to point a finger at one main thing that we're getting, it's the freedom of time that we are getting out of working with you. It's not necessarily that you are saving us a lot of time, but you are giving us the tools and the methodology and the mindset that is required to control our time or manage it better than what we could able to do in the past. So it's enabling them to leverage time and being more conscious of where they're spending the time with the tools that I'm providing. That's where I was positioned by the farmers. Eventually, I renamed the company to Enable Ag. It was a techie name at the beginning. Then company name has got changed to Enable Ag with the vision to enable farmers and their future generations to have more time for themselves and their families, because that's what I lacked in my childhood. Always thought something else would fix the problem, but it was not something else. It is just ourselves, first changing ourselves and going through the journey, putting things in place and trusting people. That's it, man. That's my long story short.
I'm going to circle back a little bit in the tech, but that's one of the major reasons I see in a lot of successful families even is time is their most valuable asset. And invariably, it just seems to slip through their fingers. So listening to you, it becomes all about setting, and correct me if I'm wrong here, processes and systems to be able to free up your time and operate more efficiently and effectively when dealing with the business processes. Is that right?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And for that, Ben, process and systems, for somebody to understand the importance of them, what I noticed is, unfortunately, they should have gone through something severe in their lives. Only then people start embracing process and systems. Like, some disaster, most often, like some near miss happened or something happened in their life, which made them realize, oh my God, I'm not an immortal. So I have to put these things in place. Otherwise, my family will struggle after me, or somebody else will struggle after me. So once they have come across that kind of feeling, that is when they start realizing the importance of the systems. But it doesn't need to be that way. It doesn't need to be that way. We could be proactive and not systemize the entire business, but maybe chip away, maybe one system a week. We can go slow, and creating one system, one little process will take less than 15 minutes a week. So it's basically consistent mindset towards creating that system culture rather than a people dependent culture is very, very important. And that's very crucial for the family owned farms, because we don't have anybody else telling us how to do, because we're the boss. We can do whatever we want. And we might create our own mess as well. And it creates a lot of people dependent business, which could put your rest of the family in a very vulnerable situation when something happens to you.
Ram, you said your mum and dad were on the farm back in India. And I remember when we first spoke, you mentioned something about you then helped your mum, I think it was, run more efficiently on the farm. And that's how you first tested things. Have I got that right as well?
That's exactly right. So because first I positioned myself as a tech guy in Tasmania, I started fixing things with technology, right? Basically, systems putting in place and systems to manage their process. Then eventually I realized that having those systems in place is not actually solving the problems. Sometimes people are following the systems, or they're not following the systems, or sometimes blaming that the system is not working because they're not disciplined enough to put the decent data. So it could be, there were different tangents. And I realized that, systems are important, but if there is no systems culture itself, the systems can't get embedded in the business. It won't work. So we need to work on the mindset of the person, first of all, who wants the systems in place, and work on the mindset of the people who are going to use the systems in the business, which could be farm hands or the farm managers. So if it is not done, then however fancy system we put, it doesn't get embedded properly in the business. I realized that. So I came up with this methodology, which I wanted to test on the farmers. And it was very skeptical in the market. When I got in, hey, I wanted to test this, they asked for a system, and I said, no, I want to give you a full meal. And the people were like, oh, I'm asking for a burger, Ram. I just need a burger. I don't need a full meal. But I can see that you are as hungry as for 2 meals. And you're telling me that a burger is good enough. As an advisor, I cannot do that. So I would rather give you a full meal for free. Take it. And if you still want just the burger, they eat it, and then you get whatever you want alongside if you want. Then they realize that, oh, I actually wanted a meal, Ram. But they realize that after having the meal. So in the process, what I did was I developed this methodology, but I wanted to test it on somebody. And fortunately or unfortunately, I'm saying this deliberately because there is a background to it. Something happened in India, which was my dad passed away. And I saw it as a disaster at that stage, but then it was actually a graceful event. Happened to my family in a way, because there were a lot of things that my mom was going through that she managed to realize her potential when my dad passed away. And she was living in the shadows. Of course, there's culture issues. There's a lot of things that happened in the background as well. And she wanted to step up. She wanted to come out. She didn't want to sit in the corner and cry that I'm missing the person whom I have followed as a leader for 35 years. I rather want to be different. Then I wanted to give her the strength to go and do what she wanted to achieve. And okay, then I was like, why don't I test this methodology on her? Because at the end of the day, what I'm enabling is freedom of time. And in this case, my mom wanted to step up. So what she needed was the systems and process in place, and helping her team to step up and run the farm. So we had 21 labor units working in a 36-acre farm. We have 1,000 lemons and 1,000 mango trees. And we have red sandalwood and teak plantation. That is the main farm. But we had 8 other enterprises, Ben. So I did the analysis on which enterprise is giving how much. 80 is to 20. I identified the 20% that is giving 80% of the benefit. I asked my mom to simply replicate it. My dad has done a fantastic job by documenting everything that he has done for 10 years. I got his last 3 years of diaries with me. In the flight from India to Australia, I went through the diaries. I made a note of all those things. I created a farm calendar. One for lemons, one for mangoes. I asked my mom to simply replicate it. Don't reinvent the wheel. She just followed it, but in an organic way. She was more passionate about organic farming, so she did it in that way. Within a few months, she was on the dais receiving an award for best organic farmer among women in a state with 70 million people. So the methodology worked on her, and she was on the dais. After a lot of years, we managed to be on the positive side with regards to our farm as well, because she stepped up so much. She took away all the messy bits of the business, simplified the operation, see which enterprise is complementing what, identified those complementary ones, enabled people to step up and create systems. Out of the 21 labor units, 15 of them did not know how to use mobile properly. 6 of them knew, out of which 4 of them knew how to use Facebook. Then I realized that the 4 of them who are using Facebook can also create videos. So I used their skills. Hey, why don't you create a video for me on the WhatsApp? They used to have WhatsApp video calls to me on every Sunday as our part of our meetings. Whatever videos they have created, I created a QR code, passed on the QR code so they can put the QR code on the plants. So whenever they are mixing an organic fertilizer, they can scan the QR code, they can watch the video that they have made, and they can follow the steps without my mom being on the farm. So that cycle I created, we only created 30 systems, 30 processes, and that has run the farm like anything. So enabled my mom to step up, and methodology worked. Then after that, I worked with, again, really good, successful farmers who were challenging me. Ram, I wouldn't need anything other than just the one that I wanted. But when I did this program as a holistic thing, they were like, oh my God, Ram, this is amazing. Why don't you spread the word? Because I don't have the capacity. And they said, oh, you should have systems. So I started. So it was that. Yes. So at that stage, when I started this methodology, I only had 60 systems documented in the business. Now I have more than 220. And that is actually enabling me to take this program beyond Tasmania as well and work with other farmers across Australia.
Using systems to create more time for you. And I see that as a real problem for a lot of business owners or agribusiness owners, is they spend so much time down in the weeds, they aren't able to prioritize in creating systems which would give them the freedom, and they don't have the knowledge how to do that. So I think we should now, Ram, go on to, there was 2 things that you said to me when we caught up. There were 2 tools that were really important, because I love this concept of more time, because I think time's their most valuable assets. But we also need to be able to go, well, that's great, but what are a couple of things I can actually do, Ben, to be able to actually start to get some traction here? And so there were 2 things that you said farmers need to have: task management and systems lists. So they're those 2 things. So do you want to tell me what those are and how they work and why a farmer might want them in their business?
Okay. I would like to answer this question with Simon Sinek's perspective. So Simon Sinek's The Golden Circle is a quite famous one, right? Even in the farming community. So in his Golden Circle, there are 3 levels. Why you do what you do, how you do it, and what you do. Right? Why, how, and what. So why is the purpose, basically. Why you are farming. We want to realize, why do you want systems? So if you look at the bigger picture, then you get the buy-in of why you need that. But how is actually answered by the systems list. So if somebody has a question in the business on how to do this, how to do that, the answer should not be coming from somebody's mouth. Rather, it needs to be coming from a document or a video or a flowchart that somebody can rely on consistently. Because when we ask a person how to do this, our challenge, we don't give the same answer, even though we had 10 years, 15 years, 50 years of experience of doing the same task. Because the mood gets affected, emotions are different, you're in a different state, whatever it is. The question you're asking, you have a different know-how, a different stage, you're giving a different answer every time, even if you get the same question. What will happen is it'll create confusion on the farm. When farm hands come and ask the question and you give a different answer each time, people get confused. They lack clarity, and they don't gain trust on your own answer. So lots of things can go wrong. So that's where I would highly recommend people having a systems list. A systems list is nothing but a list of systems where you can find answer to each of the house in the business.
Can you give us a couple of examples there, Ram, just to really solidify that?
Sure, totally. So, for example, how to set up a shearing shed for shearing. Okay, to set it up, first of all, we need to clean the floor, and the clean the floor interpretation could be different from one person to another person. So clarify what cleaning the floor means. Cleaning the floor means there should not be any cropping related chemicals on the shed. The cropping related chemicals should be packed away in one room. The chemicals that are required only for this particular activity need to be there in one corner. If there is any labeling that is required in the shed, so set up the labeling, check the machines, set up the stands, set up the yards, whatever is required. So you are going through the process of what are all the things that you need to tick off, so you are prepared for shearing to take place in a more managed way. That's an example there. Another example could be how to process a payroll for an office administrator. Right? So how to use Xero. Okay, you go here, click on this tab, do this, do this, do this. If this happens, click here. If that happens, do this. It's a little process. Nowadays, when there are lots of tools that people can use in not taking the screenshots and all, rather the screenshots of these applications can be automatically captured as you follow the steps on the screen. And these things will make life very easy, like tools like Loom. Loom is an application that people can use to record videos using the mobile phone or the desktop app. You can record even when you don't have the internet, upload it. The moment you upload it, or if you have the internet, it gets uploaded automatically. It creates a link that they can share instantly with anyone via WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. So in olden days, you need to record a video, upload it to Google Drive or Dropbox, and then get the shareable link, then share it with people. You don't have to do all that. It's a free application for 25 videos. I think if you pay $10 a month, you get an unlimited video content over there as well. So tool like that, or another tool is Scribe, which people can use to record the screen. It automatically captures every time you click anything on the screen, and it places the screenshots and creates the procedure for you by the end of the activity. So we don't have to spend a lot of time in creating the systems anymore. We just need to do the things, click the button and do what you're doing, record it, done. System is done. And then the moment you get the link, you put it in the list, make it accessible to the entire farm. That's called systems list. As simple as that.
So when someone starts off, Ram, with a systems list, because obviously for some people that'll sound very overwhelming, but if you were coming into a farm, how many would you start with? Would you start with 2 or 3 of the main systems, I suppose you'd say, and how do you identify those?
Oh, very good question, man. So this is well answered by an author. His name is David Jennings. He has written a book called Systemology. And he has not written that by keeping farmers in mind, but methodology he has mentioned in his book is pretty much applicable to anyone in any industry. So the things he talks about is an overview system. So I think when it comes to creating systems, we need to think from, okay, what are we solving? What is the immediate need in the business right now to do? So if they look back, instead of creating a system that is going to get used only once in a year or twice in a year, create a system for an activity that you do on a regular basis.
That you want to hand on to someone else.
Exactly right. What's happening today? What's happening tomorrow? Let's create a simple system for that. If you are turning on a pivot irrigator to put on the water to a particular crop, and you are making certain decisions to decide, how much water to put, you're making that based on you doing the paddock inspection, or you're checking the crop, you're doing this, You're taking some actions before you can make a decision on when to turn on, how much to put on. Then write a system on educating a person on what are all the things that you are doing to make that informed decision. Some people ask me, Ram, it's not that easy. It's not like if, then. It's like there are so many invariables. Then, despite of all these invariables, you are making a decision, aren't you? So you are. That means there is a way at the end you are making a decision. Why don't you just record? Don't think that you are creating a system. When we think that we are creating a system, we just try to get very narrow and trying to do this. But rather just do it naturally. Just turn the video on. You just talk the way you talk it, record it, pass it on to the team member, test it out. Test it out if it works. If it works, fantastic. If it doesn't work, then you know what doesn't work. Then see if you can go another go. You can give another shot.
That's a really important point. I think I want to capture that is for a lot of people, they get overwhelmed. But what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is pick a system, like you mentioned, turning on an irrigation pump or starting up a pivot, and then actually record a video as if you're instructing that employee or that family member to actually do the job, and then record it and then upload it, give it to that person to go do the job. And when it fails, figure out why it failed and then re-record the video to take that into account.
Yeah. And Ben, shockingly, what people would tell me when they are about to record a first video, they say that it's not going to come out well, Ram. Nobody's going to follow that. But surprisingly, 80% of the time or more, I have realized, or I learned through my experience, that whatever they did in the first shot is still working on the farm. They don't need to redo it. Because they've been doing the task for so many times, they don't realize that how much know-how they have built, how naturally they are already systemized, and they just need to get it out so they can help another team member to step up or add them more clarity or make them feel confident of doing the job without you.
I've got a great example where a family that I work with, their dad went away. They're a beautiful family. They're very good at what they do, but dad went away with mum for the weekend and some irrigators had to be put on. And one of the employees didn't check the fuel. And of course, the irrigator ran out of fuel halfway through the shift. And of course, he'd given him verbal instructions, but had just forgotten to mention, hey, you should check the fuel. He just assumed that would happen. The employee went, he would have checked the fuel. Off he went, and then it didn't happen. And so then they went back and said, hey, you need to do the fuel. Whereas if they'd recorded that now saying these are the steps, then next time dad goes away or someone else has to do it, they can check the video and there's going to be less chance of errors.
Exactly right. And Ben, just to take that discussion to the next level, a system doesn't need to be very detailed. A system can be as simple as just a checklist sometimes, or it could be a simple flowchart on a paper of which you can just take a photo and attach it. So just make things available to people. It doesn't need to be a perfect system, and no system in the world is ever perfect anyway. So rather, we just need to create a system that works 80% or plus and keep on improving it, keep on adapting it to the needs of your business. And if we take that approach, progress over perfection, that's the approach if we take, we will go a long way than trying to be perfectionist in creating everything that we are doing on the business.
Yeah. What is it? Procrastination is quite often masqueraded by perfectionism. So we won't take action and move forward because we want it to be perfect, whereas progress is probably what we're after.
100%.
Okay, so that's a systems list, but then we want a task management list. So what's a task management list? Because I'm guessing like every farmer out there, they're probably like me. I've got a task list that's, probably volume 12. What do you mean by a task list in your time management coaching world? And how should we be looking at that?
It's very simple, Ben. It's a task management system. That's what I call. So some farmers who are really successful, they don't use any technology for this, but they have a clear process of delegating the tasks. So without taking the name, I'll take the process they have in place in their business. So they have a whiteboard. They literally have a whiteboard in the meeting room. That's the meeting room. That is their lunch room as well in that particular farm. I'm trying to visualize exactly where it's positioned and all now as I speak. So on that whiteboard, on the left side, they write all the new tasks they come across. And as they're doing a task, they just drag a line across to a person, whoever is doing the task. And they have a list of names on the top. There are 6 names, task on the left. Whoever is doing the task, they just drag the line, put it to, and drop that line at that particular name. So that is their task. As they do their task, they tick it or they cross it by the end of the day. If they're not done, that means the task is not done. At the end of the day, somebody takes a photo, put it on WhatsApp. So that's a reporting done, right? As simple as that, that system is really working for them. They tried to fancy it, did a few other things, but anything else more than what they were doing there is disturbing their system. So in this case, that simple process of capturing any task that you come across over there and dragging a line and marking them, taking them, so that's clear process being followed consistently is a really good embedded system. Now, is it a perfect system? Who cares, Ben? It's working for them at the end of the day. The owner is happy, the employees are happy, and they feel empowered what they're doing. They got the clarity. Now, Are they wasting time? Maybe 10 minutes in a day, but 10 minutes doesn't matter. Not really. Are they happy with what they're doing and they're feeling organized? Yes. So task management system, in my definition, is to help people being organized. It's a system to help people being organized. Now, the definition of being organized is different to different person. Depending on that, they need to systemize their system for managing tasks accordingly. People can have task management system on different applications. Like now, recently, AgriWeb has released a task management element on AgriWeb. Some people started leveraging that. And there are dedicated project management tools like Asana, Smartsheet, Basecamp, Airtable, all these applications. Their bread and butter is just project management or task management. These tools would be better than any ag specific application any given day. The reason for that is because their whole bread and butter is that. They're focusing only on project management, task management. And these tools can be tailored or customized to the needs of the business. So in Enable Ag's methodology, we use Smartsheet because it is an application that is used by more than 80% of the Fortune 500 companies in the world. If they are able to tweak it and use it for them, why can't we use it for family-owned farms or any farms in general? So it's a spreadsheet-like application. You can put the data. It's more like a spreadsheet which farmers are familiar with. So there is no huge learning curve they need to go through in using a spreadsheet-like application. Put the data, then you can make a customized task list for each individual person. From manager perspective, you can get the automated reporting on what's been done, what is being done, what is to be done. As long as these questions are answered in a system, they have a good clarity on, okay, what's coming up? All right, this is what is coming up in the next 30 days, according to my calendars that I've set. Okay, what are we doing right now? Okay, has it been assigned to someone? Is it an overdue task? They should be able to see that. If they're already done, at the end of the day, you're planning for the next day, you should have enough data automatically coming into your system, which you can rely on and plan your next day or the next week without you having to pick up a phone and then ask, hey, have you done this job? Oh, where are you at? If you are having these conversations repeatedly, it seems like micromanagement as well, and you're not trusting the person to do it. But if you educate the people to follow the systems and create the system culture, then you can rely on the systems to manage your farm rather than you having to manage your managers to manage your farm.
And that's a big step for a lot of producers who have been what I'd call rugged individualists and done everything themselves, and trying to then trust and not micromanage staff is an awful challenge for them.
It is, Ben. It is. Because they've been very hands-on. Generally, as farmers, we would like to talk to people. We want to do things, but not at the cost of the satisfaction levels of each person working in the business. We don't realize how important it is for empowering other people in the business to step up. Because that's the feed for the human being, because you want to be recognized. You want to be given a little bit of challenge, because otherwise we feel life boring. If you don't give this opportunity for somebody to step up and take the responsibility and do things and do in your absence, then people lose the motivation at some stage. With these systems in place where you have task management system, delegate the tasks. If they get stuck, how to do it, which they can find in the systems list. These two are the beautiful combination of, it's the recipe, it's the beautiful combination of recipe for the proper delegation, success for the business farm manager or the farm owner.
And then do you overlay that with, I think you mentioned your mum having a calendar of all the activities throughout the year?
Yeah, so that's part of the task management system itself. So imagine task management system has two elements, right? One that we do regularly, repeatedly a year, plus or minus a few days, that's fine. So because weather changes, things change, as long as the calendar is saying, hey, you should be doing this particular task at this point of the year, and you make an informed decision saying that, oh, this year we don't need to spray the thistles because we haven't got enough thistles, it's all fine. So we can ignore the task. Or at least if you get a prompt of doing that, then you would consider that. Instead of you having to think, oh, what was I doing last year around the same time? Let me go back to my diary. Oh, last year I did this, but the last year before I did not do this. Should I be doing? So all reinventing the wheel happens, even though we've been there in the business for more than a decade. We keep on rethinking. And most often what happens, Ben, is because it's you thinking, not letting others think.
That uses up your capacity.
Exactly. If you can share this calendar with other people and they can see what's coming up in the next 30 days, they will start putting their brain into it and start thinking for you as well. If lamb marking is coming, it's not just your responsibility to place the order for the lamb marking supplies, it's everybody's. It's like everybody's as such. Everybody can, hey, yeah, last year we had 4,000 lambs and this year we have 6,000 lambs. Okay, fine. How many tags do we need? How many this thing we need? Are we ready for it? People will start thinking. So if you are on a sick leave or for something happened, other people will step up instead of you having to worry while you are sick to take care of the farm. It's the calendar's magic. Yeah.
So, Ram, I guarantee you a lot of people that are listening are going to go, yeah, that all sounds great, but it sounds like a lot of work and it's really difficult and I've got enough on my plate. Can you just give us a quick snapshot of maybe a success story of someone that you've seen, invest a little bit of time into these systems and processes to be able to create time and what that gave them, I suppose you'd say?
So I'll give you this particular client's case study who has not been on a holiday for 10 years. Okay, a holiday he has not taken more than a week break in the last 10 years continuously. In this instance, got in touch, we worked together. It was a really hard for me to get him on board with regards to how systems are going to work. And of course, for that, we worked on the team as well. So we involved the whole team as part of creating the systems. So if they are part of creating the systems itself, then they would get more buy-in. Instead of the farm owner creating them, you help everybody be part of this. Then you're taking a journey together. So you don't need to sell the concept to somebody else because they're buying it. Okay, so going into this approach, so everybody contributed to creating one simple system. Somebody did it on livestock, some people did on fencing, some on cropping, some on repairs and maintenance. We had one system coming from each person, which took, some people did silly videos, but they were funny and people were watching them, they're following them. That's the main bit, right? They made jokes in it. They had to cut some bits out of it. I said, no, don't cut the bits. Leave them as is. That's how you guys work. Anyway, it doesn't need to be clean and amazing. Just do it once. You don't need to redo the videos. You will be wasting a lot of time. So yes, they shot 10 minutes videos. They put them in the systems list. Next time when there is a new team member, the new team member who was actually happened to be a 15-year-old guy, who came for a few weeks, school holidays. And when they were watching these videos, they were doing everything on their own. And these farm hands who are on the farm for more than 3 years or 5 years, they were like, hey, do you need any help? And the new guy was like, no, I watched the video. I know what I'm doing. And then these guys went and checked what this guy has done. He has done very good job. So, and then he suggested, hey, can I do another video? Because you guys missed this bits in it. Then they said, yeah, no problem. So he shot another video, just adding a little bit of it. So they have 2 videos now to watch for a particular activity. So they went on, and the moment they saw these benefits happening, and the farm owner, within 6 months, he took 2 weeks off for the first time ever in the 10 years of his life. And then he went away again after another 2 months for another 2 weeks off. Because he realized that whenever he's going away, it's actually his farm needed the break from him, not the other way around. Because whenever he stepped away, there were more systems created. More people started stepping up and they became more leaders. They started looking for solutions within their know-how on the systems list than relying on this main farmer. Does that help, Ben?
Absolutely. No, totally. And I think this is the missing gap for a lot of farmers is, everyone wants more freedom and more time. And unless we're willing to prioritize doing the stuff that creates that, we're going to be stuck on the mouse wheel is probably the term I'm looking for. So Ram, from your point of view, I just want you to tell me, obviously this is your business, this is what you do, you help farmers create time and freedom. How does someone work with you and your business, or what do you actually offer the market?
So Ben, this is a unique program that I designed for a particular avatar or client group. So let's say if they have a team of 3 people to 15 people, that's my forte, where I have this methodology working really well. So people can get in touch with us through our website, enableag.com.au. People can find us on the Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram as well. So first, we'll do an assessment of what the farmer is really looking for, and if they're ready to change. If they're ready to change, that's the number 1 tick, and they're ready to implement, and they're ready to ask questions if they have any questions. If they're hesitant to implement what is already proven in the market, then I would say, first of all, they need to get things straight with regards to where they want to get to. If they are very clear with it, then how you can get there is easy. They need to be switched on to get there. Once they get in touch with us, we take them through a 2-week journey called time and task audit. So basically, we assess what tasks they are doing and where they are spending their time. Because we talk about the time, we need to understand where they're spending their current time and identify which role they are playing. Are they playing the farmhand, admin, or a technician role? Or are they playing the manager role, or leader role, or a visionary role? 4 roles. So which role are they playing? Identify which role is actually pulling them down. Most often, Ben, it's going to be manager role.
Managing people and systems.
Exactly. So because they don't have enough systems in place, they start managing people, they start prescribing people, they start problem solving things for the people because they don't have these 2 main systems we talked in this interview. So once these 2 are there, then they will find relief. But in the time and task audit for the first 2 weeks, we identify what tasks they are doing and which can be stopped doing, which can be continued doing, outsourced, delegated, or automated. SCODA, that's my principle. It's my methodology called SCODA, SCODA. S for stop, C for continue, O for outsource, D for delegate, A for automate. So we apply that methodology on the tasks we have identified. And then we will always ask the farmer to retain some tasks for them to do, especially the ones that they enjoy doing. You don't need to delegate everything because then you don't enjoy farming anymore. So keep the tasks. If you're a livestock guy, but you still have to do cropping because they're complementary enterprise, then go do the lamb marking yourself for some time, every month, every time there is a need. So there's nothing wrong in doing the farmhand jobs. It's about finding the balance. What I'm against is spending too much time on management because that's nobody enjoys. So that's where you need to put systems in place and then leverage yourself to become that leader that people can follow and that visionary that your family needs to put things in place so you can provide better future for your family.
Perfect, Ram. That's great. Hey, before we head off, because we're out of time now, what's one piece of advice you'd want to give anyone listening that you've sort of managed to uncover, like the little gold nugget that they could take away today?
Yeah, I think our farm needs a break from us as much as we think we need a break from the farm. And it is a necessity for everybody in the business to at least go for a 2 weeks continuous holiday every year. What it gives us is it gives an opportunity for you and your business to find the gaps which are failing in your absence. So when you come back, you know what to fix those things. Again, go on another planned break at some stage. See if those things that you fixed are breaking again or something new has broken. Then keep fixing it. When does it stop? It never stops. It's a progress we need to continuously make. There will be something to break and there will be something broken whenever you come back from a holiday. You fix it, go back again, repeat this process. It's a journey. We need to enjoy the journey rather than trying to get to a destination in this process. When we adapt that attitude, I think we'll have a more composed or holistic life, I must say. We'll embrace life better when we adapt this continuous improvement attitude.
I love that, Ram. And I'd like to finish off with what I find with most farmers and graziers is over the years, they end up doing all the things they don't want to do. And that's what drags them down. So if they can put systems and processes and get the employees working in the right areas and delegate the things they don't like, they'll find that passion again. And that's a really great antidote for burnout. Get a bit of time away and start doing more of what you love. It'll be amazing how the world changes.
Agree with you completely, Ben, on that.
Perfect. Well, look, Ram, we're out of time today. Enable Ag, go into Google, www.enableag.com.au, and you can find Ram on the socials. We'll put those in the show notes. So thanks very much for joining us here today, Ram. I've learnt a lot. I've written a lot of notes. I think it's definitely a gap in the market. And if you can help more farmers, because I know you're passionate about it with your family history, more farmers to spend more time with their family and more time enjoying life, I think it can only be a good thing.
Thanks, Ben. We'll continue doing and we'll keep in touch.
Well, that was a really enjoyable podcast for me. I learned a bit off Ram, and I think it's a unique space that he's in and an area that most people in business need, whether it be an agribusiness or not, time and more freedom. And I think the more time and more freedom we've got, the more fun we can have in life, get back to doing what we enjoy, but also too, your business is going to be far more profitable and efficient over that time. So a couple of things to wind us up on is first, do a task and time audit. So in other words, go through, work out over a 2-week period, where are you spending your time? What are those tasks? And then audit those tasks that you're doing regularly. And he mentioned the acronym SCODA, which is SCODA, which is for stop, continue, outsource, delegate, or automate. And I think then you can go through those tasks that you're doing and start to look at, well, what can I delegate? And then how could I do a video or something to be able to provide a procedure for that? And as Ram said, start recording a video. He mentioned something like Loom. You could also just do it on your iPhone, nice and easy these days. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be easy, simple to understand, just like if you were telling someone out in the paddock how to do it. And he mentioned a really interesting stat was that he said in 80% of the time, farmers who would record these videos, the first take was the best. Or so there's no need to edit and make them all fancy. It's just, hey, I'm speaking to an employee or a family member. This is the job. This is what I want you to do. And then if you come back and they've stuffed it up or they've missed something, go back and redo the procedure again or do that video again to add in those few bits and pieces. I think that's really important. And so finally, I think the number one secret here is that you need to invest some time and effort to create more time and freedom, which I think is really important. So if you found this valuable today, make sure you share it with your family and friends. We'd love that. Go on to Spotify and Apple and give us a 5-star rating if you love the podcast. But above all, if you've got any topics you'd like us to interview someone on or get some more information, because we're all about getting the knowledge from the people that have it to the people that need it. So if you've got a topic you'd like us to address, let me know, ben@thefinancialbloke.com.au. And so that's it for this week. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time.